Hello and welcome back to the world of the spirit consciousness. This is the continuation of the book study session, The Etheric Double by Arthur Powell. We are currently in the ninth module, which deals with applications of etheric faculties. This particular video of this module will be focusing on differences in astral and etheric sight and certain further applications of etheric faculties. So we have already discussed the introduction to etheric faculties, types of clairvoyance, observations made in etheric sight, and methods of developing etheric sight. Next, we will discuss the differences in astral and etheric sight, which is a very short section, and therefore we've clubbed that section, this video, along with the further applications of etheric faculties. So the etheric sight is a little different from the astral sight. In the astral sight, a completely new dimension is introduced, also called the fourth dimension. In that, a cube would look like a flattened out version seen from all the sides at the same time, along with all the particles in it. So with the help of etheric vision, one can only see through physical objects. The thickness of the object has an impact on how clear the etheric sight will be. In astral visions, such parameters are not considered. So Stead uses the word through when referring to four-dimensional vision, and the word perfectly describes etheric vision and not astral vision. Coming to the further applications of etheric faculties, so here we'll discuss the zoom in facility, the distant viewing, zoom out, telepathy and thought transference, dematerialization and rematerialization, and invisibility. By zoom in, literally we mean magnification of an object, and zoom out would literally mean, in corporate parlance, a 30,000 feet view or a 100,000 feet view of a particular object. So coming to zoom in, so etheric sight can also be utilized for magnification. This can be achieved by transferring the image from the etheric matter of the retina directly to the etheric brain. So one or more etheric particles are focused upon, and hence the size of the organ utilized and some minute object being observed becoming similar. A more common technique is to extend a flexible tube of etheric matter beginning from the center of the Ajna chakra, and this has one atom at its center which is utilized as a lens. The atom used for this purpose must have all seven of its spirellae completely developed. So this atom can be expanded and shrunk by the force of will, and this facility is that of the causal body, so that when an etheric atom forms a lens, the mechanism of reflecting counterpart needs to be introduced. This technique demands a higher development of the individual. The small snake which protrudes from the center of the forehead in an Egyptian pharaoh's headgear is a symbolization of this ability. Distant viewing and zoom out have been clubbed into a single slide because it's pretty short in topic. So distant viewing, as in addition to this method where we discuss lenses, the individual employing this technique can project his or her consciousness to a distant area by focusing it on the lens. The zoom out, the same technique can be used to make the object appear smaller by using a slightly different setting, which is to go up. So this makes it possible to see an otherwise enormous object which cannot be seen by normal sight. So if I have to explain, for example, if I am on Earth and I wish to see the crater on the moon, I would use distant viewing. If I want to see the cell structure or the molecular structure of water, I'll use zoom in. But if I want to see Earth itself or the city in which you're living itself, then I would use the function of zoom out. So next is telepathy and thought transference. So telepathy has a type which is etheric in nature, and it may take one of the following two thought forms. The clairvoyant can see the etheric image which is created. The etheric waves produced during the creation of an etheric image are emitted, and as soon as they hit another etheric brain, they reproduce in that brain the same image. The pineal gland in the brain is responsible for transferring and receiving thoughts. When one thinks of an idea with a lot of focus, the ethers are set into motion and they permeate the pineal gland. This causes a magnetic current which makes a person tremble a little or maybe get a creeping feeling. This is a sign that the thought being focused upon has enough strength to be transmitted. Generally, the pineal gland is not fully developed. So, as a person evolves spiritually, the pineal gland becomes developed too. So, dematerialization and rematerialization. So, converting matter from grosser to subtler form can change particles from the etheric to the solid form, giving rise to a phenomenon called materialization. So materialization is used when there is an emergency and a person in his astral body or an invisible helper needs to act on physical matter. The power to materialize requires prolonged concentration to a large extent. The focus should not be broken for even half a second, otherwise the materials of the materialized form will rush back to their original source. So a physical object can be brought back to its original shape after being reduced to the etheric condition. This is because when the object is converted to the etheric, its elemental essence remains in the same shape. So when an individual stops exerting the will force, this essence acts as the mold in which the solidifying particles form back as a whole. On the contrary, if a solid object is converted to a gaseous state by heat, the natural essence of the object would be lost. So this doesn't happen because of the impact of heat. This happens because when the temporary body solid form is destroyed, the essence travels back to the supply of such essence. It can be compared to a person's higher principles which are not impacted by heat and cold, but leave the physical body when it is destroyed by fire. If an object has to be moved from one place to another, like for example a brick wall, it has to be reduced to etheric condition and then rematerialized subsequently. However, this must be done rapidly as once the disintegrating force is withdrawn, the matter is forced by the etheric pressure into its original condition. Finally, invisibility, the last section of this video. So students of occultism are aware of a technique whereby the rays of light can be bent around an object. These rays can then continue on their previous path. The object in this process would then not be visible to the normal eye. There are particular forms of etheric matter which are a medium for the transmission of light. This technique is a result of an individual's power to control such etheric matter. So the next video in this module will cover how the etheric body gets influenced by various matter and the etheric currents and etheric energy. So there is the 22nd chapter also has a discussion on nature spirits. Now this has already been dealt with in a separate tutorial. So stay tuned in. We will be discussing the influences on etheric body and etheric currents and etheric energy in the next video.